Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. Starting off with Tuesday, February 24th. Last week, Egypt's military killed 20 suspected Islamic militants and wounded 28 near the northern Sinai town of Sheikh Zayed in Sinai. And I know many people say Sinai, but I use the ancient pronunciation, so just be aware of that. Islamic State militants abducted at least 220 people, also on Tuesday, from Assyrian Christian villages in northeast Syria during a 3-day offensive. Those missing include women and the elderly. ISIS now controls 10 Christian villages and have taken the people they kidnapped away from the villages into ISIS territory. Then on Thursday, February 26th, the Israeli Security Agency announced that they had uncovered 2 terrorist cells back in December and January, which carried out shooting attacks on Israeli targets. One cell, belonging to the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, carried out a shooting attack on Israeli vehicles in the Benjamin region, targeted an IDF position in Nabi Salih, and took part in fire bombings and pipe bombing incidents directed at IDF units in the West Bank. Security forces seized 4 firearms used to shoot at Israelis. The members of the cell confessed to their intention to carry out more attacks, including a combined gun and pipe bomb attack on an IDF base, stabbings against soldiers, and kidnapping a soldier. The second cell, from Bani Naim, near Hebron, carried out several shootings at Israeli vehicles near Kiryat Arba. During one gun attack, bullets were lodged in an Israeli vehicle. The suspects turned in a gun, a rifle, and ammunition hidden in one of the suspects' homes. Then on Saturday, February 28th, Al-Qaeda's Syria affiliate drove U.S.-backed rebels out of a strategic northern military base in fierce fighting that left dozens dead. At least 29 fighters from the Western Armed Hazm movement were killed, along with 6 al-Nusra Front jihadists at a military base near Aleppo. Then on Monday, March 2nd, yesterday, a senior commander of Hamas's military wing said that while his organization has no interest in the moment in fighting Israel, the Gaza-based Islamic group wants to double its arsenal of rockets and missiles in anticipation of the next round of fighting. Turning to Gaza, since November last year, there has been an increase in bombings, car burnings, kidnappings, theft, and shootings in Gaza, most notably the assassination attempt on Fatah leader Mamoun Sweden. That was on February 16th. Security services have made no arrests, while Fatah and Hamas have exchanged accusations about who is actually responsible. ISIS has claimed responsibility for some of the bombings, but Hamas has denied that ISIS is even present in Gaza. Fears are growing within Hamas that Egypt will bomb targets of its Izz ad-Din al-Qassam brigades in Gaza, just as it attacked Islamic State targets in eastern Libya last week in response to the beheadings by ISIS of the 21 or so Egyptian workers. Last week, Egyptian media reported that a unit of an extremist Islamist group entered northern Sinai from Gaza in order to participate in attacks against the Egyptian army. Further, Hamas reported Egyptian aircraft flying above the border and photographing areas in Rafah and Khan Yunis, possibly to prepare targets. BBC News reports, in an olive grove close to houses in southern Gaza, a deep pit contains a 120-millimeter mortar tube and 3 fighters from Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Fully armed and in combat fatigues, the men practice loading and unloading the tube from a stack of mortars at the back of their position. This is a show of readiness, a show of strength for the next war with Israel. Viewed as a terrorist group in the West, Islamic Jihad is committed to Israel's destruction. France's AFP posted a video last week showing flooding in Gaza in the wake of last week's storm. The video was titled, "Gaza Village Floods After Israel Opens Dam Gates." And Britain's Daily Mail headlined, "Hundreds of Palestinians left homeless after Israel opens river dam and floods houses." However, there are no dams in the southern part of Israel. Israel could not open any dams because there aren't any. More anti-Semitism rearing its head, my friends. Turning to Golan Heights, contrary to reports by Lebanese and Hezbollah-affiliated media, the military operation carried out by the Assad regime and Hezbollah, designed to purify the Syrian Golan Heights of rebel forces, has not borne much fruit. The operation, which was devised with the assistance of Iranian officials, began about 2 weeks ago, and during the first days of the offensive, Lebanese and Syrian media reported rapid gains. However, in reality, while a couple of thousand Syrian army soldiers, along with a few hundred Hezbollah fighters, indeed did take control of individual villages and several outposts, the Syrian opposition, comprised of both secular factions and members of the Al-Qaeda-affiliated Nusra Front, managed to capture several villages and outposts, and the situation in the Syrian Golan Heights, in essence, has not changed at all. Now, turning to the United States, Congress is supposed to scrutinize the decisions of the president when those decisions have anything to do with national security, nuclear threats, and associations with allies. And members of Congress have every right to invite any world leader or international expert who can assist its members in formulating appropriate responses to Iran and its nuclear weapons program, regardless of the president's personal feelings about the matter. But forget all that. Some members of Congress are planning to boycott Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech today. Netanyahu is the one person who probably knows more about the Iran nuke issue than anyone else because it threatens the very existence of the nation of Israel. Yet there are certain members of Congress who are violating protocol, not to mention basic civility and common decency. Not only is Obama doing everything he can to derail Netanyahu's speech here in America, and not only is he doing all he can to derail Netanyahu's election in Israel, but he told Israel last year that he would shoot down any Israeli Air Force planes that tried to attack Iran. Hello. P.S. The White House on Sunday, March 1st, denied the above-mentioned report, which was published by the Kuwaiti newspaper in Al Jazeera on Saturday. Now, there's a new term that is beginning to emerge, and that is Apocalyptic Islam. There have been and will continue to be serious threats from radical Islam, including radical Islamic groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and Al-Qaeda. But the term Apocalyptic Islam is something much worse. The Islamic Republic of Iran and ISIS are two nation-states whose rulers are driven not by political ideology and not by religious theology, but by apocalyptic, genocidal, end-times eschatology. Eschatology is the study of the end of history from a religious perspective. In short, the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is Shia, and ISIS, which is Sunni, are both driven by an apocalyptic, genocidal death cult. Both believe the end days is here. Both believe their Mahdi, which is their Messiah, is coming any day now. And both are doing everything they can to hasten his coming. But they each are employing very different strategies about how they are to hasten the Mahdi's appearance. ISIS create genocide now by building a caliphate. Iran create genocide later by obtaining nuclear capability. ISIS presents a more immediate threat to everyone because this satanic army who makes blood sacrifices to Allah will be heading our way. And Iran presents a less immediate but very grave threat because it embraces a very deep yearning desire to annihilate Israel, the little Satan, and America, the great Satan, with absolute nuclear destruction. And that's the newscast for this week, my friends. Stay safe, and Abba willing, I'll see you here next week. Until then, shalom, my friends.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath a naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.